Hello, this is that creepy bald guy, and I'm here to welcome you to another episode of Critiquing the Critics. Which is ironic because, technically, most of the people I review don't really qualify as critics. It's a joke! Today's subject, Mr. G movie reviews.
This is how we do it.
And you know this, man?
Mr. G movie reviews used to be known as Countdown Gods, but he refers to himself in his videos as Mr. Google. His subject, recent films, primarily but not exclusively theatrical releases. Sweet, just what I wanted. His style, hell, vlogs, well, vlogs with an assload of editing. But can his erratic editing stand a chance against my sucky editing?
In fact, sometimes you even find yourself yelling at these games with him. So clearly I've got to...
I think not. Actually, despite the uninspired setup, Mr. Google turned out to be a pretty endearing reviewer. But he is a vlogger and he is not above vlogging problems. During his lesser reviews, you shall find misfired jokes, redundant word usage, rants about things no one cares about, and sometimes he just won't make a strong case as to why we should watch or avoid a movie. Like Cool Duder, it all depends on what he has to say about the motion picture in question.
Unlike Cool Duder, he is always amusing, even when the material doesn't quite work. So let's bring up the reviewer Triforce and break him down.
One positive trait is that Mr. Google seems like a genuine student of film. And no, I'm not saying he's in film school. What I mean is that he seems like a true expert, like one who watches a lot of movies and considers what makes them work. He's not just your typical douche in front of a camera. Why did we feel the need to put footage of me when I said that? Oh, okay, I guess I'll roll with it. He's not just a sexy oh, come on!
Screw you, editor. Screw you. Nobody says my editing sucks. My editing is always very precise.
You can tell this based on his knowledge of terminology and what he puts emphasis on. He talks a lot about pacing, but unlike most reviewers, he'll actually explain why it's fast or slow. You don't get that very often. He discusses what works and backfires with the actors' performances, the script's narrative, the character development, the direction, etc., etc., etc.
Any problems I have with the movie? I thought the pacing is really one of the big problems of the film. It's really fast-paced sometimes. It starts out really, really fast, then it starts out really slow, and then the endings go fast. I thought the writing sometimes, the script was a little bit off, and I don't think the story with Aaron Eckhart and Amber Heard was really all that relevant to the actual story in the film involving Johnny Depp's journalism. I just really like the characters more than I like the story.
Also, as a nice touch, he seems to know who everybody is. He'll drop names I'd never remember, and it adds to his credibility, but it doesn't seem like he's just flaunting his knowledge.
Sam Worthington, who I've stuck up for in the past, he honestly does a great job. A lot of people complained about Sam Worthington in his previous films for not having any charisma or anything. He totally flips the switch in this film. He listened to his critics, and he totally gave himself charisma. I was behind his character. I cared about his character, and that is what was important. And Elizabeth Banks, I know it's sort of weird thinking about it, that she's playing a cop in New York who's a suicide negotiator. You have to stretch your believability, but no. She does a good job in this movie, and she was believable. And she had pretty good chemistry with Sam Worthington as well. And a lot of people are split on the whole Jamie Bell and Genesis Rodriguez side story when they're across the street. I don't want to give anything away. I honestly enjoyed that part of the story so much. That's what was entertaining about it, was just their little banter that they had, and it was really funny. They had good chemistry. I don't get why everybody hates Genesis Rodriguez's acting. I thought she was perfectly fine in the role.
What's interesting about all of this, though, is his emotional responses to these points.
I love how unapologetic he is about his opinions.
Also, the ending of this film made me shit bricks, alright? The ending of this movie, this felt like a big fuck you to the audience. Because, everything seems like it's all peachy and fine, and in the last scene it's like, oh, we're just gonna go that way, because we think we're so funny. No! Obviously I'm gonna give this movie a 1 out of 10. I hated this freaking thing. I just want to leave you guys off with three important things. 1, if you call yourself a film fan and you like this movie in the slightest, and don't cop out and say, oh, it was just a fun time. No, if you like this movie in the tiniest little way, you're not a film fan. Alright? And I don't respect you as a person. I want nothing to do with you.
He will make some very bold, sometimes even downright harsh statements about this or that. He has a lot of conviction and never wavers from it. And I like that. As I've said before, a vlogger's focus might be on the subject, but the video is really about the vlogger. Liking him makes and breaks his videos, so you have to ask, does he seem annoying, boring, pretentious? I don't think so. I think he just has a really cool personality, and it shows in his videos. He seems to have an unlimited supply of energy. He isn't just comfortable in front of the camera, he seems to enjoy performing for the camera. He is very lively. When he's annoyed, he's angry, and when he conveys praise, he's enthusiastic. He's always passionate about what he's saying, and there's never a dull moment with him. So an arrow goes from reviewer to criticism, which points up to success. As for the humor, there is a fair amount, and I'd probably describe it like this.
It's really fucking weird.
The only people that won't like this movie are people that are way too anal. 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 Want a fish stick?
But it's also unique, and you don't usually get that very often with video reviews these days.
It seems to me that his brand of comedy is very experimental. Sometimes the gags work, other times they don't. But he throws himself into the jokes with such gusto, they become enjoyable even if they are a bit silly. He just has a fun personality that makes it work.
Let's talk about this cast first. Johnny Depp. He's freaking awesome. Johnny Depp is a beast, and you are forgiven for your cameo in Jack and Jill. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So an arrow will go from the reviewer to the humor, and I'll have another one point up. I like it because I like his delivery, and the arrows represent that. But the humor never takes too much time away from the information either, so it's not distracting. In terms of production values, they're solid. The audio and video are fine, I can see and hear him clearly, but there's a lot of editing for a vlog. It's cut like a Chester A. Bum review.
Going on to the voice acting, I think the voice acting around, I didn't mind Zac Efron. I thought he was actually not that bad. Taylor Swift is... Danny DeVito voices the Lorax in this movie, and for a movie called The Lorax, he's barely used! This dude, like, when he's on screen, he's very, very good. I mean, he's Frank Reynolds, for God's sake. He's Susan Sarandon. In my opinion, I just really, really didn't get enough of The Lorax.
But it's more for pacing reasons than it is for comedic timing. It is occasionally disorienting, but this, along with other post-production tweaks, earns my stamp of approval for 2 reasons. It shows that there is some hard work put into his videos. Vlogging is too easy, so when someone puts effort into producing their own vlogs, that's pretty cool. It also does help keep the pacing lean, and guess what? His videos are only 3 to 5 minutes long, but they still manage to be funny and insightful. So an arrow goes up there too. But let's face it, like most vloggers, his reviews are very rough at times. I wish that damn watermark looking text wasn't there. At times his points could be sharper and clearer, he could enunciate a little more, and the editing could be a little cleaner. But as I said, vlogs tend to be messy like this anyway, and while his reviews aren't always consistent, his delivery generally is. He always can make me smile just based off his performance. So comparing him to similar reviewers whom I've covered, he's better than Cool Duder and myself. But he's not quite as good as Nerd with Words, who pretty much has mastered the vlog style. But I like his goofy persona, his critiquing when he's on anyway, his strange-ass jokes, his pacing, and I love that I enjoy his videos even though I often disagree with him. So while he might not be Nerd with Words equal, he is, I think, in the same league. 3 stars. I'd recommend him to fans of vloggers, movies, and hell, I think you should all watch him anyway, unless you really don't like what you've seen based on my review.
Vloggers are less about what is good or bad, and more about what you like and dislike about them. And Mr. Google had a lot of stuff that appealed to me. So if you want to check out his videos, just look at the links in my description. My name is Marshall Horror, and I'm here to tell you that those who cannot do, critique.